Today, Baba gives us a very unique attitude towards life and adverse situations. Baba says, move along while considering this life or this world to be a game, a spiritual game, and adverse situations to be spiritual toys. Now, you see, do you think that this whole, this world is a spiritual game? And what happens in a game? You just mind whether you won or lost. Yes, so that is all that matters. And so when we say spiritual game, then we must understand spiritual win and spiritual loss. Because we are not talking about this world as an ordinary game where winning and losing is, very physical, very tangible. But we are talking about this world as a spiritual game. So, what is a spiritual win and what is a spiritual loss? So, we must understand that. So, you see, in the world there is a saying that when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. And when character is lost, everything is lost. But then we don't understand what character means until we come to Baba. And mostly, in the world we think that reputation is equal to character. So we hold on to our reputation because you think that your character is equal to your reputation, and if people think you have a good character, then you have a good character. But then it is not like that, because we live in the world of false images these days. And reputation is something that can be paid and created and paid and destroyed. So these days reputation is nothing. And you see, yesterday somebody was showing me what they can do with AI and what kind of images that they can create, and they can show whatever they want, you engaging in any activity they want you to look like you're engaging in with the help of AI. And then, so you see, in this world, we have to understand that this is a world of image creation and image destruction. But a character is not an image. Character is something that's, character is a spiritual aspect of you. And when we say spiritual win and spiritual loss, then you see, when I lose my knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power, I lose my good wishes and good feelings, I lose my spiritual stage, I become confused, I become, some vice takes over me. That is a spiritual loss. Or if you think about it, it's very difficult to discern this spiritual loss. So I have a simpler method through which I check my spiritual loss. So my method is, Baba says that when you miss the Murli, when you feel that you are not able to understand the Murli as well as you should, you're not able to focus on the Murli, when you're not able to gain from the Murli what you should, that is a spiritual loss. When I'm not able to have enough yoga with Baba, that's a spiritual loss. When I am doing something against Srimad, that's spiritual loss. And when I'm not able to use my resources for seva, that is a spiritual loss. So, let me give you a very simple example now. I don't know whether you will understand this example, but I'll anyway give it. So, there is this one Mata, and she said that I had kept some money aside for my son's wedding, and that money was stolen. And then she said that, so sister, do you think that I have committed some sin in my past births because of which that money was stolen? So I told her, no, absolutely not. So then she said, how can you say it like outright? You're telling me absolutely not. So I said, it's the same thing whether you give it to the thief or give it in your son's wedding. Both are throwing it away in dirty water. It's the same thing. It's So then she said, so I didn't get it. So I said, you see, you are motivated by attachment and other motivations when you're using your money for a wedding. And what is a wedding? You're pushing somebody into lust. That's a wedding. So you're giving them the certificate to be lustful. So that's why you're getting your son wedded. And so that's against Srimad. So, and then the thief who stole it will also use it against Srimad. So anyway, that money was going to be used against Srimad. It was not going to be used for seva or something. Yes, of course, if you had told me that I had put aside this amount for seva and then that got stolen, so I would say, okay, then you should have been careful because that money could have created a fortune, but it didn't. So you see that spiritual loss, did you understand the example? Baba has not asked us to get our sons wedded, yes? So Baba says, if the daughter is not in Gyan and the daughter is, in a situation where you think that she would do something wrong or something, or she doesn't want to belong to Baba, then maybe you can get her wedded, but not the son, because the son can take care of himself. So, but you see, these things are you have to understand the whole Srimad. And then you understand that when something is not used for seva, that's a loss. When something is not used for your time, thought, energy, if it's not used for purusharth, that's a loss. It's not just a loss when you really waste something or use it for negative purposes, but even if you don't make the right use of it in Sangam Yuga, that's a loss. And Baba says that in this spiritual game, you have to be concerned just about spiritual gain and spiritual loss at every point of time. So let's say, somebody loses a job, no problem, you will get another one. But if you lose your spirit, if you lose your happiness because you lost your job, that's a loss. And in the end, nothing will matter. And people say that the most certain aspect of life is death. And when somebody is born, they, you will leave the body that one day. And when you leave the body, then all of these things that you're so concerned about will not matter. What will matter is the spiritual gain that you take with you. And what you will regret is the spiritual loss that you had. And when you're body conscious, you're very concerned about, the material loss, the loss of reputation, the loss of opportunities, the loss of, things and people and this and that. But what matters is, in the face of all of it, this is a drama. And the interesting thing about drama is, 1 second is not the same as the other. So every scene of the drama changes second by second. And the people will change, situations will change. What you have today will not be there tomorrow. What you will have tomorrow, you don't have today. But if you get caught up in all of this and create, and you lose your happiness, or you get too happy when you get something and you get too sad when you lose something, then that is the spiritual loss you are having. So Baba says that you have to understand that this is just a spiritual game. And when I was sitting in evening yoga yesterday, I don't know, sometimes, in life you have so much clarity. And in that moment when I was sitting in yoga, I had absolute clarity that, nothing matters. What just matters is whatever you do on Baba's Srimad. And, I was just thinking about how much, we lose by becoming body conscious in a day. Otherwise, you should spend every second of the 24 hours in Baba's remembrance, because that's the only way to have spiritual gain. And you should feel the love that Baba is sending your way. You should feel the happiness of being a Sangam Yogi Brahmin. And you should use everything that you have for serving the world and making it a purer place. And I was just thinking that, nothing else matters. And we get caught up in so many things. We get caught up in birth, death, gain, loss, fame, defamation, it is too cold, too hot. So you get caught up in so many things, whereas nothing of it matters. Not any bit of it matters at the end. And then, so when you think about, I'll give you one example. So there was this one brother, and he had his truck. He's the owner of some logistics company, and his trucks got seized by the sales department or because of some tax problem. And then he was so tense that he missed the Murli that day. And then his trucks were recovered in 10 hours time. And then he came and told me that, Didi, I was very afraid that I'm going to have a very big loss. But today Baba saved me, and I didn't have any loss, and all my trucks were recovered. So I said, no, but you lost. You lost everything. You see, you missed the Murli, you spent 10 hours in stress and tension. You were not an agent of peace and purity in those 10 hours. You could not do your spiritual seva. You couldn't feel the happiness of Brahmin life. So you lost absolutely in those 10 hours. And what you think you did not lose is actually, it's just an illusion. Tomorrow these trucks will not matter. This money that you saved today will not matter. So you see that Baba tells us that this is a spiritual game, and you must understand and this is a spiritual game. It is no other game. This whole game is just a spiritual game, and until and unless you understand you are a soul, you get caught up in all the wrong things, and then you lose that which matters most. Yes, and so Baba says that know that this is a spiritual game. And then Baba says adverse situations are like spiritual toys. And these days toys is a very big market, and people are like earning very well by manufacturing and selling toys. And earlier, we used to think that toys are just for entertainment, but these days toys are considered to be tools for enhancing your cognitive, motor, social, educational skills. So toys are a great medium, and you have very educative and very enhanced toys these days. And Baba says that the adverse situations that you face, they are the spiritual toys. And you see, when you have an adverse situation, I remember there was this one Mata, and she told me that she works in an office, and she said that I have a situation where my boss is not cooperating with me, and I have to handle everything on my own. And then I said, this is very good for you. So then she said, I don't know, Didi, you feel everything is good, I don't know, there's some kind of whatever happens, you say it's very good, but it doesn't look like it's very good. And so, I said, talk to me after 6 months. And then she had that situation for 6 months. And then after 6 months, I asked her, so what is your experience of this 6 months? And she said, Didi, now I have learned all the methods through which I can safeguard myself even if my boss is not happy with me. So she said, I am not afraid of anyone and anything right now. Now I know how to, how to live without even the boss's protection in office. And I know how to keep my, my work and everything so clear. And I know, where are the loopholes and where people can cheat you and where you have to be careful and where they can make you, suffer and, put you in a difficult situation. So I've learned all of that, and I've become very fearless now. And then you see, so these adverse situations, they help you enhance your cognitive skills. So, sometimes you don't understand where you need to pay attention, and when situations come and you have to be in a vigilant mode, and you start paying attention to things that you didn't pay attention to earlier. And these situations, they make you recognize, where you have to pay attention. And mostly, when you say spiritual toys, so they make you recognize which aspect of your inner world you are not paying enough attention to, because of which you are not able to process this situation with the right attitude and handle it in the right manner. So you start recognizing what is lacking in me in terms of which point of knowledge have I not imbibed, or which virtue am I lacking, or which power am I lacking. Yes, and that is a very important thing to understand, because you see, until and unless adverse situations come, you think you're doing pretty well, and that you are, you're okay, you are virtuous and you're powerful, and then something happens and then you get angry, or you feel sad, or you feel confused, or you feel fearful, and then you understand that you're not spiritually at it. And it makes you really have that cognitive sense of what do you need to develop within you. And I remember, there was so I always heard this point that the drama is kalyankari and it is benevolent. But then, you just hear it, you don't know whether you believe or understand it. And then there was a situation where everything looked very not benevolent. And then, I started having a lot of doubts, and I started feeling emotions which were not positive, and I was feeling fear, and I was feeling confusion, and the clarity was going. And then I just sat and thought, what is it that I have not imbibed? And then it kind of occurred to me, because Baba gives you that touching, and it occurred to me that maybe I don't trust the drama. So I should build more trust towards the drama, that this drama is for good. And then I started practicing it. And it's very difficult to practice something in adverse situations, but that's how we are. So we start practicing it then. And I really practiced it. And in 6 months, everything changed. And then I felt that this whole scene that happened, it was so benevolent for me, because it freed me from so many bondages, and so many other fears and things that I really was scared of earlier, I'm not scared of now. So Baba says that you have to, in order to recognize, and when you have a situation at hand, it makes you recognize that what is lacking inside you. And then, when it comes to motor skills also, so, you sometimes, the soul has the ability to bend. So, you can be, do you know how to bend, or do you break when you try to bend? And so, you have to be very flexible in relationships, in how much you can be humble, and how much you can be how much you can let go of your ego, and how much you can let go of your attachments to outcome. And all this is an aspect of bending. So it will either teach you how to bend, or it will break you. But then you have to use adverse situations. So it's a very interesting saying in English. They say, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So you must, it enhances your flexibility. So all these adverse situations, there is this very interesting thing that I have learned on this path is, you don't learn humility if you're not humiliated. So you slowly, gradually, you learn how to be humble, and you learn that, you learn this. So when you are scared of humiliation, then you always, you want to stick to being you and you're very rigid. But then when you face a lot of things, then you learn humility. You know that if a situation demands, if a relationship demands, if seva demands, then you can be a little flexible in some things, and you can let go of your ego, and you can let go of your apprehensions, and you can just trust the drama and move ahead sometimes. So this is also an aspect of spiritual toys. They make you learn this. They educate you a lot. Adverse situations educate you a lot about yourself, about about how to move through this game of life, and how to use what Baba gives you to move ahead in this game of life. So it is very educational also. And then social skills also you learn, because in adverse situations you know that mostly the normal sensibilities that you have, they work in relationships. But when relationships are very difficult, then you have to use the spiritual tools. And I remember there was this one person and they wouldn't talk to me, and there was a huge misunderstanding. And then I did not know how to communicate with that person. Now I know I'm good with words. When I communicate, I can give them a right picture and I can talk to them, but that person is not ready to communicate. So then I asked one senior sister, what do you do in these situations? So there's a misunderstanding and then the person is not ready to communicate. So then she said, you communicate. So I said, yeah, I want to, but that person is not picking the phone, not reading the messages. So then she said, you, the soul, communicate. So it just struck me that I can communicate, I have no boundaries. So then every day for 15 minutes I used to talk to that person, and in my just immerse that person in front of me and say what I had to say with a lot of love and faith that they are listening. And after I think some 45 days, they called me. And then that person spoke, and it looked like they were giving me the response of all the one-sided conversation I had been having for 45 days. And they just called me and they started talking to me and saying the words that I wanted to hear. So these are skills, spiritual skills, which help you communicate with the drama and with everything. You can communicate with the drama also. When you tell, when things are not going okay and you tell them that, you are not okay, they become more adverse. But when you speak this language, I love the drama as it is. I love everything just the way it is. I don't want to make any change in it. Then the drama also becomes very cooperative with you. So Baba says that adverse situations are very good spiritual toys. They enhance all your skills. They make you very cognizant of what is it that you want to develop inside, and then they make you very flexible. They teach you a lot. They teach you about yourself. They really build faith in Gyan. So every point of when you apply your spiritual powers and knowledge to adverse situations, then you get the proof that every point of Gyan is working actually. It is so true. And this is why Baba says, go with the attitude that this is a spiritual game, and this is your adverse situations are spiritual toys and use them to become better, become improved. So this is one thing. And then Baba talks about being refreshed and being restful. So Baba says that rest and refreshment everybody needs. Yes, but physical rest is not always enough. Yes, so these days people rest. Yes, they are. There was this one sister, and she said that I feel sleepy all day, and I feel tired all day. And then I asked her, how many hours do you sleep? She said 14 hours. And then I said, why do you feel tired all day? So she said, I don't know, I'm just sleeping, but it's not giving me any rest. So you see, these days, sleeping is not equal to rest. And you need rest, and the soul, need rest. And Baba says, where do you get that rest? You get it in Baba's lap. Yes, so whenever you are tired, just leave everything and go to Baba's lap. And Baba's lap is full of vibrations of peace, love, joy. It's a very charged place, And when you, the soul, leave everything behind, so you can't go with the body and sleep in Baba's lap. So you have to leave the body, leave everything, become a point of light, fly to Baba's lap and just be there. And there was this one brother, and he told me yesterday that he is not in Gyan, and he was sharing that I'm in so much disturbance inside that when I look at a person who is smiling, I think, how do people smile? He said, I really feel that I have not smiled in a long time. And I'm so inside, I'm so cluttered that I have not had a moment of peace for very long. And then I said, okay, I'll conduct a commentary for you, and you just let go of whatever is worrying you and just feel that you're in Baba's lap. And it was 15 minutes, and after that he said, and at the end of 15 minutes he was smiling. And he said, I have not done this for very long. So you see that when you let go and you just be in Baba's lap, it gives you rest. And rest is a very precious thing right now. And then Baba says, refreshment. What is being refreshed? So all the old ideas that you hold inside, when they start getting displaced with truth, then it is called refreshment. And Baba says, knowledge refreshes you. Baba's remembrance refreshes you. And these days, there is nothing that refreshes you. You say distraction is called refreshment. But then you distract for some time, you feel something, but then you come back to that same state. Because your ideas are the same, your belief systems are the same. But the more you listen to knowledge and the more you have yoga with Baba, your inner, programming starts changing. And that is when you become refreshed. You see everything with a new outlook. You think about everything and everyone in a different perspective. And that's called refreshment. So Baba says, I give you the method to refresh. The method to refresh is keep imbibing Gyan from Baba and having yoga with Baba. And the method to feel relax and rest is to go and sit in Baba's lap. Okay, Om Shanti.